kind of screwed them over. Ramp's one of those spots where even if he's playing good, if he dies on the wrong rounds, you know, it just turns out bad. So eSahara won the Eco round with full money. So even if they lose this round, they're going to win the next one. I mean, they're not going to win it, but they can buy again. So SK has to win 2 full gun rounds in a row. See what eSahara does here. It looks like they're going to be playing a retake setup over here. They're going to nade through mini if it opens.
Six has actually pushed up to the red box area.
Garrett got a pick at ramp and he's just walking out right now. 2 guys rotate towards ramp though.
Diadel comes right out from under ladder. Oh, he almost hits the guy coming off the mini roof. Robin already inside planting.
Yeah, I think they should probably just save here and just keep their money in check. Like, the biggest thing that eSahara can do right now is make sure now that they don't screw up their money. I mean, they'll be able to buy regardless. No. eSahara needs
How many rounds do they have? I can't see rounds yet.
2-0, 2-0. It's 2-0 for eSahara, but SK is about to win this round.
And how many did they get first half?
11-4.
Wow, how did he not die there?
That battle is actually really funny. Robin and
Hearts.
Hearts just, I don't know why, I just can never remember if it's Hearts or Major for some reason. Just destroying my mind. So yeah, eSahara's gonna have another full buy here. Most likely with 5
I'm guessing Forrest got a good spawn because it just looks like they're going in there. Yep, he's going straight into Hut. But he gets flashed, so he has to cancel that strat. Pretty good timing on that flash.
Yeah, really ruined.
Who calls strats for eSahara?
I'm pretty sure it's Hearts. I mean,
was he the strat caller in Emulate?
Yeah, I believe so.
Is he a good strat caller aside from this match?
I mean, he's the type of guy that's gonna call those like really slow, methodical strats. But I mean, from what we saw, they were running some pretty complicated strats on T side. Some nice full flashes.
Okay, Diadel gets flashed, but he was about to peek the ramp there. Oh, but Hearts is already down on like the famous heat and ramp spot.
Ooh,
where he gets owned.
That's bad timing.
Six is still hanging around in upper, finally goes down the vent. Spots the guy at the right, comes back.
Yeah, it's just gonna be looking to save this gun.
I mean, from this game, which would you take a stab at? Would you say that eSahara, like, do you think that they're just incredibly well prepared for, like, nuke? Or do you think it's that Hearts was, like, doing some amazing, specific, like, calling mid-round and that sort of shit?
Well, I think 2 things happened in this game. I feel like that first round that they won, that, like, 1v2 slash, like, Hearts having 6 HP during it, really really gave them a chance to get into the game. Like, that round really, like, they won 3 really close clutch rounds, which could have gone to SK, making, you know, their money better and giving them a better chance to win. But at the same time, he did call some really nice strats to counter get right dropping, and some really nice, you know, fakes to ramp outside to ramp and you know, that lower round and stuff. So I think overall he's been doing a really good job with a little bit of luck, obviously. eSahara just going to be saving here. Sixer still has his weapon, of course. I mean, the problem with having a big lead, sometimes you feel like you're a little bit too comfortable, you know?
Well, I mean,
you have more rounds to play with.
Sometimes you end up like under not getting maximum value out of certain rounds because you think it doesn't matter because you'll get there eventually, and then once the game gets tight, you're like, fuck, I wish I had that round back.
Yeah. Sometimes you'll save out when you could go for it, and you'll...
I mean, that was a good example of what happened in some of the games with Mouse and Fnatic. Like, I think when Mouse had some of those leads doing that same scenario where they thought Like, they put themselves in a bunch of bad situations in a row because they thought it didn't matter as long as they won one of them, and they didn't win any of them.
Yeah, that's true.
Whereas sometimes if you'd have known, like, we had to get, like, this round here, then you would have just done something decisive, which wouldn't necessarily be an amazing play, otherwise you would have done it anyway, but just something that had, like, a better chance of working.
Yeah, I definitely think, like, when your back's up against the wall, you're going to take more risks. You're not going to save in certain situations. You're going to force buy a bit more. So definitely starting on which half that you get the rounds on, it can really, like...
based on the way it's going at the moment, how many rounds do SK have to get before there's actually any reason to worry if you're eSahara?
I think once you get up to, like, 8 or 9, you're going to start being like, ooh, come on, guys. You know, like, it's time. They still have a lot of rounds to work with, right? Like, they have a ton, but... I mean, for their confidence, I think they really should try to close this match out as soon as they can, you know, so they kind of have that mental, like, you know, we beat SK, like, 16-8 or something, you know?
Well, plus, let's also factor in the fact that if they do, if SK comes second, then they're probably going to have to play Navi.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, they're probably not thinking about either of these teams, but it would be a huge boon for eSahara's tournament if they had got to play versus some really bad team and they are guaranteed semi-finals.
Yeah.
So this match actually is like... might even be the biggest match of the tournament for them, regardless of where they end up placing, you know?
Yeah, definitely, like, getting one of those easier teams into BO3 definitely, like... That, like, when you're the worst team, that's the thing you're going to try hardest to do.
Plus, it would be interesting to see how that could affect the... I'll talk when this round ends, actually, because they've still got guns.
SK doing a really nice inter-execute right there. A lot of really perfectly timed flashes.
Major only has 10L, so I'm guessing they're going to save.
Yeah,
Okay, so what would be interesting, I think, is that... Let's say SK loses this game, because at the moment they're on track to lose it. Then they have to play Navi in the quarterfinals. What would be interesting is like how that could affect both teams, because if SK goes out 5th to 8th in this tournament, that'll be like a big deal for them based on the fact they didn't win E-Stars, they've had like all these vacations, they skipped a few events, so I think that would like put the fire to their feet. Meanwhile, if Navi were to lose to SK in the quarterfinals and come 5th to 8th, I mean, if they were ever going to do anything... Personally, I don't think they should ever change their lineup, but if they ever had any plans to do something drastic like that, that could be like the straw that breaks the camel's back, you know?
Yeah, I mean, both teams, I think, if they got in a scenario like that, should kind of, like... I think realistically, you should kind of, like, see, like, yo, we got SK in a super early BO3 that shouldn't have happened. Like, it sucks, like...
Oh, it shouldn't matter. I mean, you can essentially... that might have been the finals, so you shouldn't really be that bummed if you lose it. But these teams, I mean, there's only so many times you can come like 5th to 8th and be like, oh, it's okay because we lost to a good team. Like, the placing still ends up mattering eventually, you know?
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that's actually part of what tilted the MTW team so many times when they were against Navi last year, was that if they'd have lost all those games in finals, they could have at least been like, oh, it's okay keeping this lineup because we get to finals and we win all this money. But they kept losing in like quarterfinals, semi-finals, when they might have been the second best team at the tournament, so like that pisses you off even more, you know?
Yeah.
So it's going to force lineup changes. On the upside, that would mean we have a really interesting quarterfinal best of 3.
Yeah. Well, that'd make the game a lot more interesting. That'd be a super tight match. Personally, I think SK is one of the better teams to beat Navi. I think the way SK plays really counters the way Navi... Like, Navi likes to find out what you do and adapt and counter, but SK just doesn't care. You know, they just play the way they want to. And...
I think SK is the only team that I actually think is a favourite in a best of 3 over Navi.
Yeah. Because they can
Every
just
other
build
team
those
I actually
huge
think
leads.
aren't a favourite. Like, I think FX still have a mental thing about playing Navi. Like, they haven't got to play them in a best of 3 and, like, dominate them yet.
Yeah, I guess the only one they really beat them in was that 3rd place, right?
Yeah, but that, I don't think that really... Like, a Navi were already tilted there. Like, it didn't seem to me like they cared that much.
Did you see what Sixer did? He actually just rushed outside. Like, he just ran all the way and tried to kill them on the roof. Got killed. I mean, I don't know if right then was the time to make those risky plays like this early. Like I definitely think if they keep losing, they're gonna have to start doing some risky stuff.
Well, this will be like 4 rounds in a row they've lost.
Yeah.
And how many have they always saved a gun? At least one each round?
Yeah, they've been saving guns all the time.
But then there's one guy dead. And this last guy's likely gonna die as well.
He'll live here if no one finds him.
Yeah, I thought he would peek though, but never mind.
Yeah. I mean, like, surprisingly, like, a lot of the times, like, you know, when you see a dude walk past you and you're saving a gun, you can kill him. A lot of times, if you really want to save that gun, not killing them is the better idea, because your teammates...
Oh, I think so, definitely.
Yeah, like, it works a lot better. I mean, you know, at the end of the round, when you can kind of shoot them from far away, it's whatever, but...
Especially as we're in one of these scenarios where taking that gun away from the SK player does very little to them, whereas you possibly losing your gun does a fuck ton to you.
Yep.
Irek pushes up with a deagle, but gets killed.
I'm surprised
Everyone has a deagle for eSahara.
I'm surprised eSahara didn't buy there. I mean, it was 6... They lost 6 rounds in a row and they saved a Colt. He most likely could have dropped a FAMAS or a Colt, but... I guess that's where it comes down to, like, if this was first half, and they didn't know they were going to get 11 rounds on T-side, I think they would have bought here. Like, that's what I always talk about, like, when people have those huge leads, they start playing, like, you know, oh, we got these rounds, you know? So, you know, we can play safer.
Well, essentially what you do is you just you think, well, I've already done the hard part and got, like, the non-standard lead, so now if I just play standard, then by the numbers I should win, like, X amount of rounds. I mean, you know, I should get at least, like, on course for, like, 8 or 9 rounds of CT, so then there's nothing to worry about. Just play like that and we'll definitely get the 5 rounds we need, you know.
Yeah.
But you have to realise that you're at the team who's facing you, because they're so many rounds down, they're not just going to play standard. They're likely going to do different things to try and claw rounds back and fuck with you.
Sixer is so blind on the hut.
Roman kills the guy through the wall. Forrest goes up on the red rock.
No one's actually in lobby right now. A bunch of wasted names by eSahara. I mean, they're gonna have to make a really smart gamble right now of where they think SK is gonna go. Cause yeah, they really need they need Major now. He needs to just leave ramp and play upper. Major needs to not die here. Ooh. Diadel's
if Diadel stays hidden, this is actually a decent spot to be in, bearing in mind where his teammate is. Oh, he lets the first guy go past. Nice.
Oh,
even gets
perfect.
The second one. Oh. And then Sixer just gets killed instantly. That was pretty nice spray.
That was a really nice shot by Get, right? I mean...
Okay, so SK is at 8 rounds.
I will say this, in eSahara's... For the way their money's working, it's actually better for them to lose that round than to win in the 1v1 if they lost the next, because there's a good chance that SK just beats them the next round, right? They're back to 1.5k for the rest of the half then.
Right, well they're on eco/deco now.
Yeah, so next round will be a full buy. And
so SK will be at 9 rounds.
Yeah.
Which makes the game 13-13, I think.
Yeah,
isn't it?
SK will have won 9 rounds in a row on T side.
Right, so let's assume that SK wins this round here, which they're about to. Like, what odds do you give eSahara of winning this game still?
Well, I really think in order for eSahara to, like, right now SK's on track to win. right now. Like, even though eSahara had that big half, it doesn't matter anymore. SK's winning, you know? They have full money control. They have the confidence, the momentum.